What's up, YouTube? Making this video about a local shop, Motorsports World on Royden Avenue. Here's their info for anybody that wants it. We'll focus. There we go. So, I bought my bike cash, 12 grand, out the door. From these people. They were great at first. The young lad I bought the bike off, they gave it to me for 12 grand cash. I thought they were a great shop. I had somebody back into my bike a couple weeks after I bought it, and I needed some repairs on my fork tube. They did a great job. They covered everything. The only problem I had is they wanted to replace my Harley stereo with a boom audio, which is really cheap and crappy. I tried to tell them the controls wouldn't fit on my handlebars. You need your iPod and stuff. I didn't want it on my handlebars, all that junk. And it was a piece of crap. I wanted my Harley stereo replaced because the car hit the amplifier in the front of my forks and broke the amp. Well, they tried to replace it with a $300 piece of crap. My Harley stereo was like $700. So finally I told them, I said, listen, with my bat wing, I can't stick my hand down the middle with, you know, that friggin' speaker they want to put in there. So that's when they decide, okay, we can't find one. Harley doesn't make the system no more. We can't get you one. I look in eBay, there's lots. I said, oh, you know what? I'm going to call the Harley shop because I've dealt with them for a long time. As you know, I drove Harleys. Blech. Anyway, I called the Harley shop, and lo and behold, they have one sitting on the shelf. Now, the Harley shop is on Maryville. Motorsports World is on Royden, literally 3 blocks away. So they didn't even call Harley. So they went over, got the stereo for me, put it on. They put the Batwing way too forward. I had to adjust that. They put a black power lead on my stereo. Like, thank God I noticed there was a fuse. Like, you couldn't really hurt nothing hooking a positive wire to a negative. It just wouldn't work. That's not the point. I am a licensed ham operator, which means I have a basic electronics background. It's supposed to be red. I don't care what it is. It's supposed to be red. And when I told him this, he got ignorant with me. He told me all his shrink wrap in the shop is black. They don't use any other color, not green, not brown, not yellow, all black. And I was like, well, couldn't you put a piece of red electrical tape? And he got ignorant with me. Before that, when I called, I ordered my parts when I stored my bike. I ordered the parts a long time ago because when I put the bike in storage, I went to take the seat off, take the battery out so it didn't freeze. Seat wouldn't release. So I had to cut the cable to get the battery out. So I called them, told them what happened, ordered the parts. They said they'd deal with it when I come in. Because the bike went down that side, it would probably be covered. Or Yamaha would cover it. Well, I called him yesterday, and he tells me that I put the toolbox under my seat upside down. That's why the seat wouldn't release. There was too much pressure, and I was like, I never had the fucking seat off. They had the seat off. They're the ones that put the stereo on. They're the ones that put the black wire on the positive. They were the last. And I mean, if you want any proof my seat was put on in haste and the work was done in speed and haste, look at the power lead. So I ended up getting soaked for $100 for the cable, the little rubber to protect all that I had to cut to protect all my electrical, and the installation. So I was a little pissed off, and I paid for my oil change. So, because he was so ignorant and they blamed it on me, I figured, you know what, before I leave here, I'm going to check the work they did. So I pull around the front, I put my key in, doesn't want to pop. Well, I was using the wrong key. So he come out, he turned it, seat kind of lifts off, like it doesn't pop up anymore, it just loosens and you got to take it off. I'm like, what the hell? So he gets ignorant. He says, oh, that's the way they all are. I'm like, no. When I first bought the bike, I did try that keyhole, and the seat pops off. It doesn't do that no more. Well, when he lifted the seat, I'm like, where's my rubber piece? Like, all my electrical's all exposed. I'm like, where's the rubber piece I paid for? He says, well, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? So after looking, I seen that the mechanic just stuffed it down, like jammed it in between the cable, everything was pushed up, pushed all my electrical, just jammed it in there, hoping I wouldn't notice. I already paid for this part. I already paid for the installation. I'm showing who I think is a sales rep. His name's Chris, ends up being the owner. He's like, sorry. He tells me mechanics make mistakes. So I had to get him out there on his knees with a screwdriver. He's not even a mechanic, and I made him change it because I already paid for it. And after looking at the seat release, still doesn't release right. Like, this is a brand new bike. I'm so disappointed with Yamaha and this service with Motorsports World. No, it's like military radio. So here I am, we're at the shop, picked up the bike. I've already paid for everything. But this part was stuck down inside my wiring, and they got a sales rep trying to fix it properly for me. I was using the wrong key when I went to leave, like a jackass, but here he is servicing something I already paid for. Good thing we checked it before we left. And again, that's the Stryker. We just took her out yesterday. And that's the shop, everybody. And again, there's the bill. I checked it before I left because he was rude. I wanted to make sure the work was done, and they have a salesman. He told me he's not a mechanic. He's out here, they're closing. And he's taking the time to put it on right. It's covering all my electrical. It was hanging, so if I hadn't got them to do it when I brought it back, they would have said I took it apart. Because supposedly this is what caused all the problems on the other video, and we couldn't shut the seat. And as you've seen in the other video, it was the first time we ever popped a seat, so like and subscribe. Alright folks, so got the fish finder out here. I just brought it in the Motorsports World. When I went to put my bike away, as you know, I gotta find the video, but when I put my bike away, the seat wouldn't eject. I brought it in the Motorsports World. They were the last people to work on my bike. Now they installed the stereo under here, and they didn't do a fucking good job at all. Boycott this shop. So those of you with a Stryker, my seat's locked. Look how loose it is now. I put the key in, I turn it. Look at this, people. The seat doesn't pop up. You have to turn it and physically lift it off now. So they didn't do a good job there. Now give me a second, I'm going to show you some more stuff of this shop. Now the reason they said my seat didn't eject is because I put this upside down. But I've never been underneath this seat. Now here's a cable they put in. Not a very good job. This is the stereo wire they put for my my hog tune stereo. As you can see, it goes to the positive and it's black. Now I asked him about it. He said all his shrink wrap in that shop is black. That's all they use is black. All their positive wires are going to be black because that's all they have at the shop, he told me. So yeah, that's what they did. They didn't cover it under the warranty because they said I put this in upside down. It was their mechanic. Proof it was put on in haste last. Look at this fucking power wire. So that just proves to me it was on haste. Now this is the cover I was so upset about and made him, the owner, come out and put on because the mechanic just stuffed this down inside. You'll see in the video. He didn't have it hooked in right, and that's where all my electrical is. Now the same as the seat, if I had left this and had a short here from water or anything and I came back in, they would have saw this stuck down inside and would have said I had the seat off and I must have done it. Just like the goddamn toolbox. So again, Motorsports World on Royden Avenue in Ottawa. This is their work. This is my story. Stay the fuck away from them. Thanks for watching, everybody.